What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to go over basically the exact timeline that you can take today to start delegating parts of your Amazon business to a virtual assistant for very cheap and get back a lot of your time. So, as you guys know, a lot of tasks in Amazon are very repetitive. In inputting units into the prep center, logging cost of goods, making invoices, you don't really get better at those skills. They just continue to take more time. So offloading those for cheap is a very easy way to get a lot of your time back. And all of this work can be done virtually. So virtual assistants obviously are great for this because, most of them are based out of the Philippines. And since the wage gap is very apparent there, like $4 to $5 is a very, very good wage for them. So buying back your time for that cheap is, basically a no-brainer. If you do even part-time, which is 20 hours a week, and that'd be like 80 hours a month, which is almost 1,000 hours a year, getting back that much time for only around 4 to 5 grand a year is crazy. If you scale your Amazon business correctly, you make that in a day in Q4. So it's literally a no-brainer to have all this done off your plate and kind of get that time back. So here's this kind of timeline I built that you can take, starting today to start doing that. So obviously, if you start week one here, I think the best thing you can do is just make a new Claude project. Again, Claude's like 20 bucks a month. Make a new project and provide that brief description, everything that you want out of this hire, explain your Amazon business a little bit and that you're looking to offboard a lot of those tasks. Next, I would get Mac Whisper. That is also free, another free software there. And just talk to it for like 15 to 20 minutes. Everything about your Amazon business, everything you know about it, all the different tasks you do day to day, what takes up the most time, what takes up the least time, and what requires a lot of skill, what doesn't require a lot of skill, and then just paste that transcript into Claude, and then again, telling it that you want to offload certain parts. It'll spit back some good knowledge, tell you the first things you can get off your plate. Just telling you right now, I think some of the best things can be base level sourcing, creating invoices, putting units into the prep center dashboard, again, logging your cost of goods, doing brand research, email outbound. There's so much you can do. So again, there's so many different paths you can take. But after you do a little prep there, it's just kind of starting off by going to then source some virtual assistants. Onlinejobs.ph is one of the easiest, most well-known ones you can do. Create a job posting with Claude. You can just ask for them to create a little prompt for you to post into onlinejobs.ph. You'll get, 100, 150 applications in one day. So just kind of sort through those, look at their resumes, try to find ones that you think are best. You can also export them to Claude if you really wanted to get techie and have it, give its feedback on what it thinks could be the best couple interviews. And then the next couple of days, you'll just start to schedule some interviews and go to a final round, try to get, 3 to 4 final candidates and make a decision on who you think's the best. Again, you'll kind of have to run most of these early in the morning or late at night as their time zone's different. But after a week, you should be able to hire your virtual assistant pretty easily. It's not too much work. Now, basically in that same Claude project, basically giving it its transcript, you are now going to basically just tell Claude, hey, I have this VA onboarded now. I've landed on my first employee. The first 2 tasks I want to go with are inputting cost of goods into a prep center dashboard and making invoices. So it'll create 2 basic SOPs off that if you gave it a good enough transcript from your Whisper session. If not, you can do that again, obviously. And then the next thing would just be filming a Loom video for them as well with the SOP. So again, just pulling up your prep center dashboard, pulling up your buy sheet, and just taking the row and putting it into the prep center dashboard. Same thing for invoice building. You can add them as a user to your email and running through each ASIN on the buy sheet and updating invoices when you're replenishing inventory or creating new ones in like a Google Drive is a great step. Typically, they should be able to pick up these tasks very easily. If you have a good SOP, if you have a good Loom video, because you're showing them exactly how to do it, they're just going to follow those steps off the bat, right? If you do a good job hiring. What I suggest doing is meet at least once every week via Zoom to run over their feedback. And that's going to be very important, right? They're not going to be perfect off their first SOP and Loom video. You need to give them constant feedback. This product wasn't good because of XYZ, or you actually did this wrong because you forgot to do XYZ. And make sure they're following those steps by meeting weekly, texting them on WhatsApp, Um, and so already off the bat, you're going to have to spend a couple hours the first week, extra hours training them, right? But very quickly, you're getting a lot of time back, right? Where it might have taken 2 hours to make an invoice of a couple thousand units off a big ASIN, with a proper Loom video showing them how to do it, you're saving those couple hours already back. So you buy your time back so quickly. Um, this is where it starts to get really good. You're doing your weekly meetings. And then when you can take it a step further, right, if you really want to get ahead of it, is start using AI with it. So start playing with Claude Code, start playing with Obsidian where you're storing all these documents, all the knowledge you have, and start thinking of ways you can have the VA possibly use AI to increase their output, right? To just get more done in the hours they work. If you're doing brand direct and you're looking to build kind of value prompts to brands where you're improving their listings and you're sending them drafts, have the VA start to do that and build an AI chatbot or AI agent that is actually comparing listings in the niche, improving the listing you feed it, and then the VA is building that PDF. That's a great way to do it. Have AI start building cover letters for ungate submissions and inauthentic submissions. So that way the VA is able to provide ready documents when you need it. Again, another session where you can talk to Whisper, upload that transcript to Claude, and have it start brainstorming new ideas to implement AI as well. Use AI to create a CRM, so you're not now using a spreadsheet, and you're actually using a AI CRM with automations that the VA can do. So you're continuing to upload it, and hopefully then in about a month of the VA's work, you've reached a point where the tasks they do day to day, they're doing well because you've met with them, you've gave them daily feedback, and they're working hard. You're also implementing AI into their daily work and your daily work. Now the step really is continuing to spend your now open time. So again, you get those 2 hours back a day doing XYZ tasks. You're able to use that extra time to start researching AI, watching YouTube videos, learning, playing around on your own computer and putting in different systems in your business. Like I talked about, could be brand value prompts, invoice creating, building your own CRM, so many different ways you can store knowledge and start to track your email scripts if you're outbound to brands. So you're spending all this time learning it and implementing it into the VA systems that now the next step is hopefully you're finding more and more work that can be delegated off your plate. And what was a full week's of worth to get on a VA can now be not done with any of your time. Because as I mentioned, a lot of times these VAs in the Philippines, their English isn't perfect. While they can text, it's hard speaking. They're on a different time zone. Communication is hard. There's so many applicants. The best thing you can do is have your VA go into onlinejobs.ph and create that posting and do interviews themselves. They know what it takes to run your business properly if you give them enough feedback. So they know what they need to see out of a hire. They're running those interviews for you on their, an hour a day per work. They're doing the application processing, and then you hop on the final round with them, maybe 3 or 4 interviews, and you decide together on a VA that you want to bring on. And your original VA is just going to teach them all the same systems you already taught them. So the first step is so hard and new to a lot of sellers. But after you get your first VA on board, it's so easy to get another 2 or 3 on board and just continue to build out your company delegation. So again, if you are scaling your Amazon business, you want to scale, just take a step back for a day. Again, start a new Claude project. You could even just take a step back from the VAs and say, I want to know what I need to focus on delegating, and just talk to it. Talk to Whisper, upload the transcript. Tell them, run through your day to day. Hey, I'm usually spending an hour doing XYZ tasks. I'm spending 2 hours doing this. And you're going to get a little bit of a week breakdown. All right, you're spending 10 hours a week doing repricing. That would be great to teach a VA how to do that in depth and get 10 hours back a week. So start to learn about things you can delegate. Look at your Amazon day to day and see which tasks you can't really get better at. That's how I like to look at it, right? I can't get better at creating an invoice because it's the same thing over and over. I'm uploading an invoice into a PDF and creating a cover letter with Claude. I can't really get better at that. So it makes sense to offload that to an employee for cheaper and get my time back, because for $5 an hour, your time is a lot more valuable. So Continue to think that way. And the best thing you can do is get one virtual assistant on board and just put so much time into training it well. Include bonuses, include incentives to want them to grow. And further delegating just becomes a piece of cake. Um, and in a 6 months' time, if you keep up with it, you're going to be working 2 hours a day. And I know a lot of people that work a couple hours a week on their Amazon business and they're doing, multiple six figures in revenue a month. So it becomes kind of crazy if you put enough time into the back end. The time you get back is so amazing. So try this timeline out. Comment any questions you have on the hiring process, and I'll make sure to answer. But thanks for watching.